All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the P114 podcast from an undisclosed location that will be revealed at a later time, a later podcast, somewhere, someday. And let us begin today. This is all about filmmaking and stuff like this. My name is Jesse Knight, and we'll go around the room and introduce each other. I'm a filmmaker and a professor and all that kind of stuff, all about filmmaking and that kind of thing. And you, sir, who are you?
I'm Randall Lanier. I'm a film student here at Piedmont.
Awesome. And so, and then next?
I'm Nathaniel Hinton, and I'm an upcoming filmmaker and here to learn more at Piedmont.
All right.
I am Aiden Ford. I am a filmmaker and a film student at PCC as well.
Excellent. So we're all here. We're all about making films and that kind of stuff. So, first shows are always kind of weird. Things sort of need to it's sort of like you got a hunk of clay and it's like, okay, this got to become a podcast and something like that. So our focus today is going to be a little bit broad. And it's going to be, I'm going to start it off by just sort of simply talking about a favorite movie, okay? Mm-hmm. And I'll start us off, and then whoever wants to chime in and go with theirs, that's cool. I kind of want this to kind of feel like a conversation and that kind of thing. So, we'll get more relaxed as we go. But my favorite movie for a long time, after, I kind of got over Star Wars, because that was the first movie I ever saw. And so I think that movie sort of set me on the course to filmmaking. So in a way, maybe I could argue that Star Wars, A New Hope, is my favorite, just because it was the catalyst for everything. And then Spielberg and Lucas and all that kind of stuff built from there. But there was one movie that sort of held my attention for about a decade as maybe my favorite, and that's Apocalypse Now. And when I was younger, I really liked, I loved the color black. I wasn't a goth, but I liked, I was this art student, and some of my pieces had they were just kind of crazy, barbed wire, maybe some dead animal bones and stuff like that woven into them. So I was into that kind of stuff.
Killer.
And I liked, all kinds of crazy movies. I kind of like the genre weird, whatever that means, but I like weird movies, things I haven't seen before. I want, a new stimulus, that kind of thing. But Apocalypse Now really grabbed me at an early age. It was one of those, where your dad's watching it, and you kind of, you're supposed to be in bed, but you kind of like, oh, what's this going on the TV, Yeah. So it's like that, and The Shining totally warped my mind as a small child, just because I saw certain key parts. Of course, the first thing I ever saw in The Shining was the room 237 scene with the woman in it.
The naked woman.
I was totally just ruined at 7 or 8 years old.
That's
or whatever. Worst. Yeah. And I was like, go to bed. I'm like, and all that kind of stuff. What did I just see? That.
And now you're a horror fanatic, right? In some ways.
Honestly, yeah. But I love horror. I love sci-fi. It could be strong, and this will get to another part of it. But I found I like all kind of genres. As far as doing the work, I'll do a rom-com in a heartbeat. Like I always tell my classes and stuff, I'll totally, if I got the chance to do Air Buds 10, I would jump on it in a New York minute. No problem there at all. I'll be paid well, and I'll learn a lot and meet a lot of cool people. But I've run on enough, so let me open up the floor to some favorite movies. Apocalypse Now, though, that one hit me hard, and we can get into that why, but let me hear what y'all like.
For me, it's easy to say, like you just said, Star Wars New Hope, because that was the second movie I ever saw in a theater.
Oh, yeah. What was the first one?
That was the original broadcast of it. The first one was Jungle Book. It was animated Jungle Book.
Pretty neat, though. A lot of colors.
Yeah. But in A New Hope was the first regular movie I saw when it was first out, came in 1977, and that's when I saw it at theaters. But it's not. I'm not gonna take that because I just too easy question.
Yeah.
But it did inspire me to do something that could be done on a movie screen, and somebody things can be done.
Right.
I'm probably gonna have to go with Jaws, which came out beforehand.
Nice.
Before that.
Choice.
But it started the big blockbuster summer movie thing. Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss. What's his first name?
Roy Scheider? No.
The third guy with him, the fisherman that was with him.
Oh yeah, that's Shaw. Bernard Shaw? No, something Shaw. Let me IMDb. It's okay. It's a conversation. But, we're allowed to look on IMDb while you're thinking. Robert Shaw.
Robert Shaw. I don't know
Wow, that
how
was
I could-
fast.
And he was it? Is it true?
Jeez.
Was he really a guy who was on the actual ship that he tells a story about? I had heard that. I had
He
heard he
might-
was actually
Oh,
one of
really?
the sailors on
No,
that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, so I can't really say one
Yeah.
word about it.
I had
But,
heard that. I could be totally wrong.
But but the scene with him and that, like you said, the scene him describing the ship that
Indianapolis.
sunk, Indianapolis that sunk,
yeah.
and the sharks ate them all the most of the crew or whatever. And,
Yeah.
Wait, what?
the Indianapolis.
The USS
uh,
Indianapolis during
true
World War
story.
II, it was carrying the bomb, right? So it wasn't in a fleet; it was a commando mission, and it went out and they sunk it. And they had delivered it on their way back. They got sunk by a Japanese submarine. It was a submarine.
I think so. Yeah.
And everybody was floating in the water in big groups, and these sharks were coming in
Oh
and
my
just
God.
eating everybody.
That
you
is
know?
so terrifying.
Yeah, and there were some survivors actually, but it took them a while.
The story that he says that he tells in the movie about it, because he was like one of the guys who was there. He was like one of the only survivors or whatever. Of course, I don't know about the character. Like you
That
said,
is worth looking
Oh, yeah,
up.
yeah.
I don't know
I'm gonna look
the
it up.
full, but most of the
Yeah.
story he talked about.
It
Yeah,
is-
there's a movie I think came out. It was it was not a theatrical movie. I think it was more of either a straight to DVD movie or straight something like that Nicolas Cage did just a couple of years ago. That was about the Indianapolis.
Really?
That's right.
The shark attacks.
Yeah.
Really?
My friend, I have a friend that works out in Hollywood. He does special effects. He worked on that movie. Actually, he was one of the people. They farm it out to a lot of like subcontractors and stuff. So he worked on a shot or two of that. So it's pretty interesting.
Wow, that is interesting. I
But,
didn't know that.
But it's a really good movie. I love a lot of the scenes in it, and I love the way they just didn't show the shark at all until the very last of the movie, which was perfect. But I mean, I know the shark didn't work, and that's why they didn't show it during the parts of the movie.
They did struggle.
But but the thing about it is that was the good thing
That was the
about
scary
it. That
part.
was like a good thing.
The
'cause-
adrenaline was your...
Exactly, because you didn't know what was. All you saw was out the camera, in the point of view of the shark is what
Yeah.
you saw
I
most
have
of the
to say
time.
this. I have to say this. It goes with what you're saying. The thing that scares me the most in this world is a shark, and I've always tripped me out. The other day I was on the way to school thinking, I feel like I'm just gonna die from a shark. I just keep thinking to myself, that's how I'm gonna die, is a shark, and somebody's gonna drop me in the ocean. I'm gonna be in a plane one day. It's gonna crash in the ocean, and that's how it's gonna happen. And I just had to say that. They're so scary.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't we can't. I don't even want to talk about the sequels, but the first one is really the best. It's really good.
Isn't there like 2 Jaws?
Oh, there's
Like,
more than 2.
I
man.
four.
remember.
Yeah.
the
Jaws
older
3,
one.
Jaws
Oh,
2, Jaws
I thought
3,
it was a-
Jaws 4: The Revenge.
And their families, it kind of came with it. Now I know at one point they kind of broke away from the family from the original one, but the kids grew up, and then they had kids. I think it was like right.
No,
Well, I know the kids grew up.
Well, the first one, of course, you know the first one. The second one, they didn't. I don't know if they had it didn't spotlight the kids. I hadn't seen the second one in a while.
Yeah, me
But
too.
the third one was about one of his grown kids at a water park, not
Oh,
water
yeah,
park,
yeah.
but a
Like a SeaWorld type thing.
SeaWorld type place.
Wasn't that played? Who was that played by? I know he's very.
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid. Yeah.
It's a very.
Yeah, I didn't
it's
really care
very
for that
bad,
one.
Very
Yeah.
bad special effects and everything to it.
It wasn't very good. I did like the second one though.
But yeah, the second one's not bad.
Yeah.
If you got a couple of hours you want to kill, watch the first one and the second one. That'd be fine. If you got some time to kill or whatever, that'd be fine.
Well, I think you had a
But-
good pick on your favorite movie because that is definitely you can't go wrong with
But one thing about the fourth one, the Jaws Revenge, takes the concept and just makes it even more of a ridiculous concept for the basically the shark is following the mother from where she's where they are living at to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
That is exactly what the concept of the show.
They tried to make
movie
the
is.
shark smart and like out to get her or something. Yeah, and it's
I
not,
swear that is the plot of the movie. It's
I
not
believe
like
it though. I believe it. If
It sounds
anybody
like
can be
some
crazy, it's a shark.
It sounds like a spoof of like Saturday Night Live. They would have done a sketch on Saturday Night Live. They would have done whatever. But,
Be realistic.
Well, they did the
that's-
land shark skit
Yeah.
on SNL. That's pretty good.
Was that sci-fi? Was that a sci-fi movie?
SNL Saturday Night Live. It was a skit they did, and it was get a knock on the door and be like postman or something like that. It was just the land shark. He'd come in and eat you. You know.
Oh no!
Yeah, right
really,
at the door.
It was a really short sketch because all it was the shark was at the door knocking on the door, and as soon as they opened it up, he went to attack him or whatever type thing, and that would be it.
Was it a real looking shark?
No.
Nah, he was
Was
this guy
it-
dressed up in a
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 'Cause
shark.
I could see a dead shark and I would just throw up right then and there.
And the smell
I
alone, you know.
can't be.
It
You know
was
the
just a
sharks
fun-
in the little jars that you can
Oh,
see
yeah.
at the beach. My friend terrorized me in high school with it. He
Ah.
terrorized me. I mean, it just doesn't end. Like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
doesn't matter if they're dead or alive.
I had to cut one up in biology. It wasn't fun.
Oh,
A little correction. I don't think Robert Shaw was on the Indianapolis, but there is the legend around it
Oh,
because his speech
I'd
was so
heard something
convincing.
about
But he
that
was a
too,
writer and a
so-
playwright, and that speech had actually been a few people had their hands on it. This one guy had worked on it. Then John Milius took it and kind of worked on it. Shaw took it on and worked on it. Yeah.
But, so that's that was
Nate?
fine.
Yeah,
Who's next?
All right.
What you got, Nate?
I'm gonna have to say the first film I've ever seen that scared the living daylights out of me was Sleepaway Camp. That movie scared the shit out of me.
Was that your favorite movie though?
I got so many. It's hard to choose.
Yeah, isn't it?
favorite.
Yeah,
It was hard.
That one caused a catalyst, though,
Yes,
something in your
yes.
brain to start. Yeah.
That movie was just really kind of just strange or whatever, but how it ended was very terrifying. I'll tell you that. It was very terrifying.
Oh yeah.
I can't
yeah.
re- I can't-
She
Have you
is
ever
a
seen it?
sweetheart. Felissa Rose is
Yes,
a
yes.
really good
Oh,
person.
you talked
Yeah,
about how
yeah.
you worked with her, didn't you?
Mhm.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did. You said she was the main character from that
Mhm.
movie. I knew I'd heard it before.
Mhm.
I feel like I've seen it. It's a 90s or 80s?
80s.
80s, okay.
I was
I
a
had
kid.
the
I was a
early
kid when
80s.
I saw it
Oh,
at my
man.
friend's house because
My
it was
best-
something I was not allowed to see.
That's where I've seen it. My best friend's mom is a horror fanatic, and I was at her house one time, and she was watching. I was like, "What is this retarded stuff?" I mean, it was the 80s. Although, don't get me wrong, I love 80s movies, but I remember being very cheesy.
Right, a lot of soft light. Actually, really well
Yeah.
crafted though. I watched it again recently, you know, and that kind of stuff because. I think I didn't get to see the ending when I was a kid, and that's
Yeah.
the coup de grace of the
Yeah,
film, you know, the horror. And
People still talk about it today. I mean, there's people that still bring it up. I mean, he did bring it up.
Yeah,
But
man.
I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
people in just discussions I've had
Mhm.
before they talk about that. If they bring
Well,
it
people
up.
say like Evil Dead's cheesy, but it's amazingly
That's a
awesome
great
cheesy.
movie.
That's
Oh
a
god,
movie.
that's my number one.
Well, it's that Three Stooges kind of stuff he packed into there, the jokey
Yeah.
kind of
see-
stuff. When he's basically they got a corpse on a stick that they're beating him
Yeah,
with.
man. Dude, they were so funny, and I think they realized that that Bruce, he literally is what made it. So when they made the second one,
Right.
they had to make it just completely funny and made it because that was him. That was all him. The first
yeah.
one, I love the first one. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go to. I will get back when you talk. The second one, hands down the best.
Agreed. Well, the first one was more kind of
It was just-
horror-ish and stuff that they did a lot of stuff. The
Serious,
second
yeah.
one,
They recreated it.
It was something kind of cool, and it really it wasn't that I was laughing, but you could see that how hysterical, in a way of like your brain cracking in half. That experience must have been just like wigged out, like totally like.
Oh, man,
what
he
the
had
heck
it,
am I
man.
involved
Yeah.
with right now?
Oh man, he
Yeah.
went nuts.
But Sleepaway Camp, to go back to that, there's this genre of camp slasher films that
Yes,
kind of
yes.
started in maybe late 70s, but early 80s definitely, and that totally is in that same
Yeah.
kind of wheelhouse as Friday the 13th and some of the other ones too. you
yeah,
know.
man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
so
watch that. Is it on Netflix?
No, I don't believe it. Is this on YouTube though?
It's on YouTube. I need
Yeah.
to watch that again and
Not
give it a try.
only that movie, but The Exorcist.
Oh,
first
The
one?
man.
Exorcist, the first
original.
one.
Beautiful
that-
movie.
Yeah, it was really good. But it was,
God.
that was another film that's scary.
Yeah.
If we're talking about like horror movies, I would say those two
Right.
are one of my favorites.
Right.
But me, I'm really like I like realistic movies.
Yeah.
Movies that actually like like I would say Boys in the Hood.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
How
that's a
You
good one.
Learning. How
Slice
You
of
Learn-
life drama.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would say How You Learning is another one of my favorite movies because it's realistic to the stuff that we have going on today. You know, with
Right.
school shootings and
Sure.
stuff like that.
Absolutely.
You know, it was about I don't know if y'all ever seen it, but just to give you a short summary of it, it was about it was really just mainly about a guy that was going to college and he couldn't seem to make friends or get along with nobody, and then I guess he just falls into this depression or something, and then he just goes off and just starts shooting people. It's like a mass school shooting.
Out of school, like high school?
Yeah, no, at a college.
At a
It was
college,
in
okay.
Yeah.
Higher learning.
Yeah,
You'll be talking about that.
it's very good. I like controversial movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
no
you
doubt.
seen Elephant? That
Yeah,
Gus Van Sant
man.
movie?
yeah, that's about the
Yeah, yeah.
Columbine. The Columbine
And it's
High
real.
School.
It has that realistic bent
Yeah,
to it and
yeah,
stuff. And
yeah.
you're just like
Yeah.
an invisible camera
Yeah.
following these people around. you
Yeah,
know?
that's
Yeah.
a really good movie too. Very good.
Excellent. All right.
All right. Okay, hands down, Evil Dead. But you know what? I'm gonna go with
Evil
something
Dead 2, right?
Evil Dead 2, of
Yeah.
course. All the Evil Deads, all of the above. Anything
Army
with
of
Evil Dead,
Darkness.
yes. Oh yeah.
TV show.
Even more almost than the original ones, just because of the gore was so great.
Right.
Because I love gore. But the thing is that I'm gonna go on actors. This is kind of just me being kind of like, it's not really just the story, but
Right.
the actor that's in it, Kathy Bates.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I just love her. She reminds me of my grandma, and so I have this like attachment thing with her. But A Home of Our Own. It came out like in the early '90s,
Uh-huh.
and it's like it's a drama feel. But she's a mom of like 5 kids or something like that,
Right.
and she's completely just broke.
Right.
Like, I mean, so broke. And this is like, I mean, back in the day, and she's
Right.
I think in the story is set in like a different time.
Right.
Back in the day, yeah. So it's she's just this hard ass, and you know Kathy, she's already badass, you know, man.
Right.
I just love her, and have you guys seen that? You guys looking at me like you ain't
I
never seen
have
it.
not.
You guys,
I
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
What's
I
it
want
called
to.
again?
A Home of Our Own.
Uh-huh.
So
I remember the title.
They get. She finds him a home, and she bargains with the guy that owns it. It's this raggedy house, and
Right.
they've never owned anything in their lives.
Right.
And she's like, I'm gonna make this our home. And so this woman has all these kids and works this like really small job at like a bowling alley, and just creates their home, and they start building the house together, and that's become their life. And I know it sounds kind of boring and stuff, but it has something to it. It's very, you know how people like those movies that are just feel good? That's
Yeah.
what it is. It's a feel good.
Okay.
And I love it. I just
those
love
are
feel
good.
goods.
You know?
And that's all Kathy.
Absolutely.
Like
Well,
that when boys don't cry.
Oh, no. That's hard though.
Yeah.
Boys Don't Cry.
That's a really
That,
good movie.
that's
What's,
something I own both of those movies.
Right.
I also own Riding in Cars with Boys, which is just kind of
Right.
like in the genre.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
just
Yeah.
sad and
Yeah.
realistic and
Yeah.
Right.
great
Right.
humor and
Right.
stuff. But
Yeah.
no, you hit me with that one too.
Yeah.
Boys Don't Cry with Hilary Swank.
Yeah.
God, that's
that's one I haven't seen yet. I know it's good. I just know it's going to be
Yeah.
painful.
that
and I
rape
don't-
scene is really intense.
It's-
Yeah,
You can skip it. It's at the
yeah,
end.
Yeah.
But man, when she
It's
gives that
sad.
performance,
Yeah.
and I know, and I'm not going to say what she says because it's
Right.
vulgar, but
Sure.
I have so much respect for her for doing that scene. When
Right.
she acts when she's talking to them about the cops about her getting raped.
Right.
Oh,
It was so intense how
that-
she said it and how she did it, man. And then they show it while
And
she's
then they
saying it. It
show
was just, it's
yeah.
trippy, man. The whole movie before that is just so phenomenal.
Right. Oh, I know.
And you know
it's
I can
good.
relate to that.
Yeah,
You know, I
yeah,
just-
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, it's such a great story.
Yeah, totally. Talking about Kathy Bates, I remembered Fried Green Tomatoes. Maybe was
Oh.
the first thing that came out that I saw her in and stuff. I thought that was cool.
Monster, yeah.
Then Misery
Misery,
hit.
yeah.
Misery
before.
I was
Misery
gonna
was
say Misery.
before Fried Green Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the first, and she was
I mean,
sort
I'm
of like
sorry
this.
to-
So she started off as this sort of like horror monster kind of thing. I thought that was.
She is
No, 'cause
creepy.
that's what Misery made her into the.
Okay,
That's why she got.
that's what
Friday
brought
Night.
her up.
That's
Okay, I
why.
thought it was the other way
Yeah.
around.
Oh,
You
Misery,
know,
yeah, Misery was her come up.
the '80s were a blur. I was a kid. I didn't-
God, I love
What's
Misery
more like
too.
90s. But anyway,
He
I'm
did-
not
He just
getting
made
into
a
the
point.
details.
This has nothing to do with Kathy, but Monster.
Right. I have not seen that either.
That
I want
one-
to.
I'm gonna let you
That
borrow
one
it. I have it.
is-
I own
that
it.
one
You gotta
is-
borrow it and watch
That's
it.
a good movie.
Yeah,
So
That's a
good.
pretty good movie too.
Yeah.
I have seen that one.
It's
Sure.
by Eileen, yeah, about
Yeah,
Eileen, yeah.
yeah.
Man,
Well,
she had a
the
story.
actress in Monster,
Charlize
Yeah,
Theron.
Charlize Theron's awesome.
I always say Theron like it's. I don't know. I'm just.
She can play all different kinds.
She gains
of
weight for everything she does, man, and then just snaps back out of it. I wish I could
gains,
do that.
loses, gets rocked for like Mad Max.
Yeah.
You know? It's pretty crazy. Yeah,
And the
yeah.
actor that they picked for Monster looks just like the actual woman.
Well, that's what we're just saying,
Mhm.
Charlize. Yeah, man, and she's beautiful in real life.
Oh yeah.
So beautiful, and when they make her, like when that sex scene with them had me go just the whole time, but then I knew they were both beautiful under that makeup, so I had to like,
Right.
you know, it was hard to watch.
Oh yeah. All right, so those are sort of like a sampling of our favorite movies and stuff like that. I would say now we kind of dipped into this a little bit, but genre, and that's a hard one for me too. I'm almost sort of like,
This is hard, yeah,
like
as-
I almost like bodies of work from directors, almost as a genre myself. But I think about Kubrick. Well, he was all over the place. There's like drama, comedy, and horror, and sci-fi, and all this stuff. But I guess more than anything, I guess I sort of lean towards sci-fi because, things kind of go back to like childhood, early things that you experience. And my dad was he was so much into like the first Star Trek series and The Outer Limits and Twilight Zone and all these older shows too. Flash Gordon back before the movie when it was a serial on television, And he even gave me like one of his little comic books of it when he was a kid. He was born in 1930, so that kind of stuff. And I guess sci-fi for me, because you can kind of be really lo-fi, such as in a movie like Primer, where it's just essentially a couple of dudes, a storage space, and some cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
There were time traveling kinds of things, or not time. They made clones of themselves and had that kind of problem. But you can go all out, and it can be the huge pictorial extravaganza, that kind of thing. Though I equally I like horror, I love drama, I kind of like war films and stuff like that, I'm even the right rom-coms and stuff I'll like, so that it's interesting how I know some people adhere to a genre and they just stay like solid with it. Nothing else
Oh, I can't do
matters.
that.
I can't do it.
Be
but
open-minded.
It's tough.
Yeah,
It's tough, but I guess I sort of have to explain that I kind of lean in a certain direction. How about you guys?
Well, I again, it's a very hard thing to like, picking your own child. But anyway, but the
I like that.
like a superhero has become a genre to a point because of all the movies coming out of the superheroes. I kind of like that a little bit.
Yeah.
Actions that goes along with action and sci-fi type thing too, if you will. But I guess that's kind of where my home is at. But I mean, I'll go for anything drama. I mean, nobody, like you said, nobody. If somebody says, "Hey, you need to see, this movie," and if it's a comedy, I'm like, "No, I don't like comedies." Move on. I love comedies too. One of my favorite movies is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, I love that
That's
movie.
like my favorite comedy movie
Oh, yeah.
of all time. So that's one, that's in my wheelhouse too. But I guess action, sci-fi, like I said, superhero, if you want to call that a genre, which is it's becoming a genre because there's plenty of more and more films are coming out. It's becoming more of a genre. But
Well, I remember Superman as a kid, like strong, and then all the cartoons that we saw, like Super Friends and all that kind of stuff. The Batman TV show from the '60s.
I mean, Superman the movie used to be my favorite comic book movie, basically.
It was great.
At one time before the Avengers came out, but
Right.
But that's that was my favorite movie based on a comic book character.
Yeah, I definitely think you can use superhero as a genre. I mean, it can bend in different ways. Like Blade, superhero, but kind of horror. And then it's interesting.
But so yeah, that's well, I mean, and I like I said, action, sci-fi, whatever. But yeah, that's about where I'm stand out about.
Excellent. How about you?
Ooh, I'm all over the place. I
I think we all are.
I like a little bit of action, drama, science fiction. But I'm more in horror and controversial movies.
Mhm.
So like a little bit of scary eeriness, but also
Right.
like realisticness.
And you that tells me that you probably favor story over
yeah.
like impact of some juxtaposition of shots.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have.
Pretty much, I like everything though.
I think that's all of us.
I'm universal. It's hard.
Yeah.
I'm
You can
really
kind of
universal.
lean probably to a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty much universal because I like everything. Because it's hard. It's a lot of good movies out there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a lot of ways you can do movies.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking, I like cop movies and crime movies.
Yeah,
I watch a
right,
healthy
right,
dose of both.
right.
I like them both because you're getting kind of points of view all the way around
Right.
and stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah. All right.
You know, I agree with Nate, and it's so funny because like when he said that, there's so many different types of movies. I was thinking, okay, where do I start? I love horror.
Right.
I love it, but then there's times where I'm eating and I don't want to watch someone getting their,
Yes.
their throat cut open.
No.
I can't mix the two.
Me and my
together.
wife are that way too. It's like
I'll
watch
sit-
MasterChef right now. Then
I watched the grossest thing last night on Facebook. It was like a little thing. It was just the most disturbingest like horror like clips of all
Right.
time. It was gross. Anyways,
Right.
but I was eating. I was like, oh nope, I can't do that.
No.
But then I love drama. I
Yeah.
also love musicals. I love Les Mis.
Okay.
I love Moulin Rouge so
Right.
much. And you know, there's times where I'm not in the mood for musicals. Like I don't like High School Musical, but I do like those.
Right. Right.
You know what? And then every now and then I'm in the mood for a little bit of action. I love Deadpool.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Avengers was
Those are
cool. It
fun.
was all right.
Yeah.
But drama, you know, drama is always good. I love a good comedy like Shallow Hal. I'm into Shallow Hal and
Right.
stuff like that, which, yeah, I guess does to Deadpool too. But yeah, he was right. If you appreciate film, you appreciate everything in some way.
But you probably lean maybe towards sort of the gorehound movies and stuff like that a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of.
It's something interesting and it gets your adrenaline going.
Yeah. But even within horror, you can have all kinds of aspects of stuff like that. Like for the last 6 years, I've been listening to a podcast, The Movie Crypt. I talk about it way too much, but one of the directors who hosts the show did these films called the Hatchet movies, and they're good. The gore in it's okay, you know, it's very cartoon, a lot of it, you know. But it's what I like about it is the writing, the comedy aspects of those films, and they have just smart little writing, I think, in those things, which is pretty cool.
Just to add that into that, to go with what you just said, I don't know if you've ever seen this. I meant to say it earlier when we were talking about like slasher movies. Have you ever seen Final Girls?
No, I've heard of it.
Watch it. I also own that. I
Right.
had to buy it as soon as I saw it. It makes fun of
That genre?
It's
Right.
kind of like a Friday the 13th film. There's a lake and these kids, but they get stuck in the 80s. It's a film. It's an actual movie that was made. It was a fake movie, and the girl and her friends get caught into the movie because the theater catches
so you
on
have
fire.
blending of dimensions and
So it's a different dimension,
okay,
but it becomes real.
That's pretty
You
cool.
can die in it. It's so
That sounds
freaking
pretty cool.
good.
That sounds like those movies. That movie, Ginger Snaps. Ginger Snaps.
Yeah.
I saw that
Both
at
of
the
those
long
are good.
time ago
Yeah.
at the South by
Super good
Southwest
stuff.
when it premiered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
that's
And they
my
did it
favorite.
low budget, but it blew up,
Yeah.
and then it became franchise.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
My
Pretty
mother,
neat.
she loves horror movies. She's got all the horror movies.
Your mama and my mama.
Yeah, she tons.
My mama's a freak, man.
Yeah, my mom doesn't like the horror, but she did take me to see RoboCop when I was like 13, which was awesome. We both came out of there loving it. So it was like
That was as
right on.
hardcore as she went when it came to like.
Well, the first RoboCop, not the whatever version that just came out.
Oh,
That first
okay.
one had some good stuff in it. You know,
Yeah.
they had the dude melting from the
Okay,
toxic
true.
waste.
Toxic waste.
It
and
had,
then
you know-
the car hit him.
All kind of crazy stuff. You know, like yeah.
Maybe I just didn't see that one.
Yeah.
The
That's
first
the one to
the first
see.
one's-
That's
the first
a-
one's good.
I'll
the
buy it
first
for
one's
$1.
I think we got a problem with the camera right now.
Oh shoot, we haven't been using it. Oh well,
Oh,
this first one is
okay.
just audio.
Yeah.
I was going.
No, it
I had
was
it all.
red.
Yeah,
It was
it was
red.
red, like it was recording, and then
Yeah.
it just
Okay.
went out.
Huh.
Who knows?
I don't think it was recording though. But we'll get part of this. Might as well.
Looks like that means it's recording then.
We're recording now.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Oh.
that. So part of this will be just all audio, and the other part will be us. Hello. Anyway, so getting back to, we were just sort of covering the genre, sort of the genres and favorite stuff we're kind of leaning towards. And here for the sort of second half of this podcast, we can kind of dial in a little more precisely, and I can start us off by talking about directors, which in and of itself is kind of hard to narrow down, because early in my life, it happened when Spielberg and George Lucas were blowing up. So of course, I was all excited about those movies. My dad was. A lot of my love for films comes from my father, actually, and even like. He had like back in the day, you'd get the soundtracks on records and stuff like that. So I was a little kid looking at the soundtrack for 2001, just kind of looking at the painting on the record and listening to, it was just all like, it was mainly all classical music with some other stuff in it, but just sort of thinking about it. I'd never seen the movie, but just kind of looking at the pictures and wondering about it. Also, Star Wars was a big impact because of that. But so George Lucas and those guys. But as I started studying film more and getting into more stuff, my dad also loved a lot of the samurai movies made in the 50s. And one of the directors of that's Akira Kurosawa, who a lot of people may have heard of today and stuff like that. But he made great movies like Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, High and Low, all kinds of stuff like that. And I kind of maybe have to grab onto Kurosawa, but also I have respect for a vast amount of directors. Like I like all the West Coast guys, Spielberg, Coppola, Lucas, and Milius, and all that. But I also love sort of oddballs like David Lynch and the guy who did Ghost Dog and a bunch of other stuff like that. I can't remember his name though now. Darn it. Anyway, moving right along. I also like a lot of the East Coast guys. Like I love Scorsese. A lot of those New York kind of movies, those hard-hitting kind of stuff. I love Taxi Driver and that kind of stuff. But I guess I kind of have to latch on to Kurosawa. I just love his films, and looking back at it, they're just so precisely made. You know, there's nothing that's there that doesn't have a reason to be there, you know, on that frame. And I think that would be a luxury to be able to make a movie like that.
Yeah.
To put it all in and be control of every aspect of it, to me, just is pretty cool. Kubrick is a big one too. My God, I left him out, but yeah, it's just so many that I can't. It's hard to latch onto a favorite, but kind of maybe Kurosawa. How about you?
Nice.
As much as the director, I try to think of directors who are basically almost every movie that I've seen of theirs has been great.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, I always start thinking about the directors. Well, it was great. They kind of started going down a little bit after a period. After the later movies haven't been that as good as they used to be. But so I just went. I even say this about Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, I think some of his movies over time has kind of not as good.
I have to say though, I did enjoy the latest one he did, Ready Player One. I saw it,
seen that
and that was actually pretty good. I liked it. Yeah.
Was it drama?
It's a little bit. It's it's sci-fi. It's a little bit in the future. It's about what kind of video games become.
Oh yeah,
and stuff like that. But it's really cool.
I haven't seen that yet.
It kind of looks to me like granted, I haven't seen it, and I've kind of been kind of hesitant about seeing it. I'll probably wait till I really can see it for free or whatever somewhere, because I feel like it's like, here's the 80s in your face. You know,
kind of, but it really, I feel like it, and I sound
remember
like
this, remember that.
I'm dating
that
myself.
Kind of thing, it's just like, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm just dating myself really badly, but I think it gets into the zeitgeist of the younger generations, because it's kind of about what they're into, and it's sort of like this. It's a video game world you go into, and you can do any game you want there. You can be any avatar you want. You can run away from King Kong. You can play around with Mechagodzilla. All this kind of weird stuff. The Iron Giants there.
See, I wouldn't do that game.
All these different stuff, and it's an interesting. It's a escapism into this world that was built.
Can you die in the game?
You can die in the game, but there you are with your little headpiece and that kind of stuff.
So you're not going to really die.
Well, yeah, you can, because the world is kind of messed up.
Okay, so that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're playing back and forth in the two worlds. I don't want to give it away any spoilers or anything like that, but it's I was pleasantly surprised. It was a fun ride. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Watch you hate it and like Jesse White, I waste my.
No, I've been wanting to watch it.
But
I've been wanting to watch it. Yeah. I forgot the name of it, and I knew that he had done that.
But Spielberg, man, like early on.
Can't go wrong with him.
I did Jaws. I said Jaws is my favorite movie of all time, but actually, I didn't. It wasn't even because of that. It was a two separate thing when I was looking for the thing.
Yeah.
It was like, it just so happened to be Spielberg had filmed that.
Yeah.
But of course, Jaws. Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Indiana Jones, except the fourth one. That was not necessarily his fault. Other than saying I shouldn't have directed that. But anyway, like I said, his later years. He's had some stumbles.
He's definitely evolved,
but
gone through a course, and stayed relevant in a way.
E.T. They say that Toby Hooper directed Poltergeist, but Spielberg definitely had some say in so
That's a
with
big
that.
debate. Yeah.
The if you had said that Spielberg had directed a movie, nobody would really challenge you probably on it. But I mean, if you didn't know about the whole situation between
Right.
Tobe
Well,
Hooper,
Spielberg says Tobe Hooper
Yeah.
is definitive director.
Right.
You know, he
But,
said he totally directed it.
Did he produce it?
Oh, yeah.
Spielberg produced
Yeah.
it. Yes,
Absolutely. And
But,
Spielberg was working on E.T. at the time and bouncing back and
I
forth.
think, yeah, or either he was working on something or whatever. One of the he was working on something.
He
Yeah,
was
it
in
could have
prep
been
on
E.T. He
something.
could
Yeah,
have been E.T.
I think so.
But I can't remember timing where the movies were.
Right.
But anyway, I keep on forgetting what
Close Encounters blew me
Close
away.
Encounters.
Oh
thank
my
you.
God.
Close Encounters.
That's one of my favorite movies. Jeez, I left it out, but yeah.
There's so many.
Yeah.
But there's, I mean, you know, some of his, like I said, some of his later stuff. Minority Report was okay. I think it feels.
okay.
I feel like it could have been better, but
I kind of put it with his War of the Worlds, which I liked his War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds. I did
Oh,
not like
yeah,
that.
the one
yeah.
with Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
liked it.
liked it.
Yeah.
I
was a big fan of that story,
Yeah.
and I didn't have a problem with it being kind of changed in the present day and how they did it.
Right.
But, you know.
But I mean, I think you could. I mean, if you're gonna go see one of his movies, I think you're gonna make even if you don't really like it. I don't think you're gonna hate it.
Right.
But you may not like some things of his movies. But there's a theme to it, whether it's because even the War of the Worlds was about a guy and his daughter. You know, like
Family.
There's
Yeah,
always
it's that strong
there's always
family kind of thing.
a also broken families. Too.
Yeah.
There's always
Well,
a
his parents
theme.
were divorced, yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
and there's always a kind of a theme in between. You know,
Didn't he do Tornado? Or
Talking about Twister?
a Twister? I don't
He
know.
might have been a producer on it, but
He
he
might
wasn't the
produce, but he
director.
didn't
Yeah, I
direct.
forget. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, no, he was
Yeah.
a part of it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't direct it, but he may have produced it.
Mhm.
But there was, like I said, especially during his earlier works, there was a theme of broken homes and stuff like that. Because there's always a little girl in his, or it seemed like there was always younger kids in his movies too. Cause that's
Right.
why Poltergeist. That's always the question comes up about
Yeah.
Poltergeist too,
Oh,
because
yeah.
there was that young blonde girl in there, and
Carol Ann.
yeah, so there
Mhm.
was kind of like always a question of, because it did have a little bit of Spielberg
Right.
stamps in it or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And so,
Totally.
but you know that I'm not I'm not doing a review of Poltergeist, but but Spielberg, I think all in all, I think has done a very good job, and that's who I chose.
Yeah, he was probably the biggest director on the planet when we were kids, you know. It's just sort of, yeah.
Schindler's List. I'm sorry, I didn't bring it up. That
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
yeah, you could go on.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, his dramas are good. His fun movies are good. Yeah, yeah. Pretty cool. All right, Nate.
I got quite a couple. I say James Cameron, Spike Lee,
Yeah.
and
There you go.
if you're looking for up-to-date movies, I would say Ryan Coogler, because he did Black Panther.
Okay.
And the new one
Right.
that just came out.
Yeah.
Well, the only one that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
He also did what's the other movie? Fruitville Station.
Okay.
And it was very good.
I haven't seen it.
It was very good. It was it was produced well. James Cameron, he did Avatar. I thought it was very creative.
Right.
Spike Lee, he did Do the Right Thing.
Oh, yeah.
What else? He did another movie, Chirac, but it wasn't good though.
Right. Spike Lee.
Spike Lee had a lot of other movies too. I can't think about. He did.
Yeah.
Do the Right Thing.
Yeah. Do the Right Thing was when I was in film school way back in the day, the dinosaurs. That movie was it was a great teaching tool because he did a lot of really creative things, like things with the colors and making it look hot in New York City street, like having something that is actually really, really hot sort of in the foreground of the camera. You don't see it, but you see the steam and the air kind of changing in front of it.
What movie
and
are we
stuff like
talking
that.
about?
Do the Right Thing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
when I saw the, didn't they have that in the editing video we watched the other day?
Yeah,
A clip
yeah,
of
they
it?
had-
Because I
yeah.
saw that,
Mm-hmm.
but they said that they actually shot it when it was hot outside.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It just wasn't so
and
hot
they
to where
added
you-
to it. They shot it in
to make it
summer,
even
you know,
more
and all that
hotter.
kind of stuff. And he's directing and the main actor in it too, you know. So
Wow, what a
yeah,
tough
yeah.
job.
Oh yeah. But pretty cool, pretty cool. Just kind of slice of life. It took place over a couple days, something like that.
On the one block the whole time.
Mhm,
Yeah, I like that idea.
Mhm.
You know?
Totally late '80s and feeling and all that
Mm.
kind of stuff. You're
No
deep
doubt.
in.
I
Yeah.
think he shot it in Harlem, in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You like that?
And he still, I think he still lives there. I think he teaches at NYU and all that
yeah,
kind of
he
stuff.
does,
Yeah.
He
Mm-hmm.
does.
Mm-hmm.
He just came out with a new one, didn't he?
Yeah,
Black
that's-
Klansman.
Yeah, Black Klansman. Yeah, that's his new one. Yeah, it's
Oh.
getting some pretty good reviews, and I've seen some interviews
I
with him on
haven't-
it.
I haven't seen
I haven't either.
With,
Yeah.
I think it was Denzel's kid, Denzel Washington's.
Oh, cool.
I
don't know
can't
much
remember.
about it.
I hate to say his name, it's
Right.
Denzel's kid, you know, whatever.
Right.
James Washington, I think his name is. I think that's James Washington.
Maybe so.
But I think it's James something Washington or something like that. I think it's a hyphen or whatever type of thing in it.
John David Washington.
John. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But I hate to say, I want to know his name instead of saying, well, it's Denzel's kid. I'm sure that's what he wants to
Yeah, yeah.
hear all the rest of his life.
He's insignificant. He's just
Just Denzel's kid.
Mhm.
But yeah, so he's the main person in there, and I think it's what I want to say Kylo Ren, but I can't remember the actor's name who played Kylo Ren in Star Wars. But he's in it too, whatever.
Right, and it's about the real guy that infiltrated the Klan.
it's based on a true
It's
story.
got to be a crazy story. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty interesting. All right, Aiden.
I'm gonna have to go with James Wan.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
good choice.
Yeah, he has made incredible, just the most incredible. He's been a part of some incredible scary movies, just movies in general.
So what's the first one of
Conjuring.
his you've seen? Conjuring 1?
I wouldn't even say it was the first one I've seen, but it's
Probably saw
Conjuring.
Saw, right?
Well, yeah, I will see. I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't gone through his whole list.
Right.
The things that I watched when I found out him. Hold on.
I'm kidding.
Well, no, yeah. First of all, and I'm gonna be honest with you, no one thinks of directors when they watch movies.
I know.
Right.
No one thinks of
I
directors.
can't help it.
So, of course, when you asked me the question, so who's your favorite director? I knew he was one,
Mm-hmm.
so I knew he was going to be an option.
Right.
But every time I've ever watched a scary movie,
Mm-hmm.
he's always seems to be the director, and
Right.
it's always something I like.
Conjuring,
So,
Insidious, Dead Silence.
This has been recently, even before you asked the question, so I kind of already knew it was going to be him.
Right.
But I didn't think, I'm going to keep going down the line of everything he's ever done just because
Right.
I like him.
Most people know him as the Fast and the Furious guy. And that's one little movie
See, I
he
wouldn't
did
even
later
tell you
on.
that
Yeah,
they-
yeah, yeah.
But I do know that one of my favorite scary movies he's been a part of. So
Right.
that was pretty
Conjuring's
much
great.
you got me right there. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to really keep looking.
Yeah.
So, but which is my next point. I don't even know that he directed it. Maybe you. I mean, you can tell me. J.J. Abrams.
Uh-huh.
He directed Super 8,
Yeah,
and that movie just
pretty neat.
so.
Oh, yeah.
Look, that was
It's full
one
of
the
member
first.
berries, but it's really good.
Huh?
It's full of member berries, but really good.
Yeah, I mean, but see, the thing I was like, that was one of the first movies. I was working at Blockbuster when it came out, and I remember I bought it. Everybody was like, "Hey, you gotta watch this," because I was a movie buff,
Right.
Still am, obviously. And when I watched that, it just was so powerful when they were doing
Right.
the skits and they were out there on the train and that scene and just all that they put into it, and just not even in the parts where it was like the CGI parts. It
Right.
was the kids acting and filming with the Super 8 camera, and that was so dope. And it was that movie and Life of Pi that made me want to be into this industry.
Yeah. I hadn't seen Life of Pi, but that's
Oh,
pretty
it's
cool.
beautiful.
I know
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the movie.
It's about the kid in the boat with the tiger.
Oh,
Yeah.
you gotta watch it, Jess.
What's
Yeah, yeah.
I'll let you borrow that one too, okay? How many
I
movies
might
you
have
want?
access. I have like a whole bunch of streaming services.
Okay, well, you need to watch these
Yeah, yeah,
movies.
yeah.
Life of Pi, though, out of all the movies we talked about today, Life of Pi, it's
Okay.
beautiful. The
I'll check it out.
cinematography in it, and now I know how it's all fake, but
Right.
Yeah.
it's just beautiful.
That's okay. Yeah.
The
My-
Indian moments, like when they're in India, I'm assuming they're in India,
Right.
Indian, but it was, but it's so significant. The thing is, it had a beautiful thing about it. When you watch from the beginning to the end, there was a message, and that was what I loved about it. It wasn't just something beautiful to see; it was a beautiful message.
Right.
That's what I
Right.
love about the movies.
Oh, very cool.
Anyways, yes. So yes.
Okay. Nice. Good choices.
Saw is a good movie if you want to go.
Oh, I've seen all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
I just didn't know he directed.
The first
yeah.
one. The first one. He
The first one,
directed.
yeah.
I believe it now.
Yeah, yeah.
I believe it because he is a
That-
cool.
that-
did he
that-
did he do The Forest too?
You did?
The Forest.
The Forest.
I know you talked
It was
about.
about in
I've
the
heard of it, but
China-
I
China or
don't know.
something.
I don't know if
I
you
don't
did or
know.
The
not.
Forest, man. You ain't never seen The Forest?
I've heard of it.
Oh, you gotta watch
But I-
it. It's
I don't
true.
think
I mean,
I've
it's
heard of
about a true story. It's the is it in China where they have the forest? It's the suicide forest.
Suicide Forest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Well, there's that YouTuber that got in trouble for exploiting it.
Oh yeah, the blonde guy, yeah.
Yeah.
And he can't be on YouTube anymore, can he?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
still
They're still
good.
on
Yeah,
there?
he's still making
I'm
videos.
surprised.
They just got rid of Alex Jones though.
Yeah, yeah.
It's sort of like
it took him
my
out.
thing is like he is what he is. I don't like Alex Jones,
Yeah.
but should you? That's a whole
I feel
ethical
like
thing.
they
Should you
doing
bring him
it's
down
like
or bring down these
censorship.
people or not? Yeah.
I feel like it's censorship. They took him out.
But it needs a disclosure like
Yeah.
this isn't really.
It's not right to film a dead
person.
person, but you know.
Because a lot of people believe it. You know. Oh well, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm
Paul.
talking about the Paul guy.
Yeah.
I didn't like his humor. I didn't care for his humor.
Julius Berg was the director of The Forest. You talking about?
Really, but wasn't he a part of it? James Wan parted at all?
Maybe.
I feel like he was. I feel like
I
I've
don't
seen
think
his
so, 'cause
name
that
in the
movie
credits.
didn't even get released here in the U.S. I don't
It's a net. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah,
It's,
there might have been two.
A Netflix
Is
owned thing.
let's see, I don't know.
Anyway.
No, it didn't. You know, it didn't really. It released on DVD and came out in theaters.
Oh, okay.
I remember I saw it in theaters.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. This is a French movie anyway. Sorry.
But anyways,
Cool. This is a little harder, and we've kind of gone on a little bit. We're going to go rapidly, quickly though. This is producers, and I probably have to grab onto Spielberg because of so many movies he produced, including his own.
you can just have
you
mine
know.
because that's exactly what I picked.
You know, I just sort of will say that. Who'd you pick?
Well, are you talking producers? Okay,
Producers.
because I got DPs also. But anyway.
Oh shoot. Okay, we'll go back to DP.
Okay.
But after
Producer, I
producer.
put Spielberg. I thought about, but then Transformers came around. I'm like, oh no.
Oh yeah, burn. Yeah. No, I feel that.
That's where I said no. I'm done. Yeah, I can't do his producing stuff. I'm sorry.
Right.
But Jerry Bruckheimer.
Oh yeah.
And he's done a lot of action movies. I'm talking about a lot of action, like I'm like this action guy, whatever. I'm really more into. I mean, if an action movie is good when it's done right and it's got good
great.
story to it, I'm all about the script and the characters and all that
Sure.
stuff in movies mostly. Action, some action movies are just about action and that's all they're going to show. But when it's done right and it's done well, I think it can, like any movie, any genre can do that.
What's something he's done?
He did the original, or he did Beverly Hills Cop 2. He's been around a
yeah.
long
Time,
time.
yeah.
Oh yeah, if he's done
Um,
those.
So Days of Thunder, The Rock, Con Air, Top Gun, all the Pirates movies, which I
Con Air, isn't that the one with the guy? And
Nicolas
he's
Cage.
Armageddon.
yeah.
yeah, Armageddon, the Pirates movies, which I like them. You know, I'm not a huge fan of them. I'm not like, oh God, I gotta see every movie. You know, every little bit.
First one though, so cool.
The first one's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The other ones, I like the other ones too, for what they
Yeah,
are.
It's
Cool,
popcorn, you know.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
what
You
they
gotta keep-
are.
yeah.
He's done
popcorn.
tons of TV series,
Oh,
all
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
He's
Just
done,
Vuku stuff.
He's done a recent one that I like, Lucifer, which is a television
which
show.
got picked up by one of the. It was going to
Picked up
get
Netflix.
canceled, but
It's going to
Netflix
Netflix
picked
now,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's got
So-
enough following.
Gotta
Um,
love Netflix, man.
Crimson Tide is another one too.
Right.
Go ahead.
Nate.
Ice Cube.
Oh yeah.
He's done all the Friday series
Yeah.
movies. Got another. What's the other movie he did?
He's done a lot, man.
Yeah, he has.
He helped produce the Straight Outta Compton.
I was about to say,
movie,
didn't he do that?
Right.
Yeah, he
That's
had
right.
a little bit of input on that movie.
That was about his life, wasn't it?
Yeah, about the NWA when they was coming up. It's about them as a group. He did Are We There Yet and Are We Done Yet? Ice Cube is a good writer and producer.
He's done a lot of music for a lot of stuff, and
Yeah.
and acted. I remember him
Yeah.
on Boys in the Hood, like
Yeah.
way back in the day,
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff like that.
Done that too.
Like I'm trying to get to his producing role, but there's so many he's done
Yeah,
music
he's
for
done-
that
he's
I've passed
done a
like
lot.
200 or 300.
And he's done some producing for movies that he wasn't even in.
Yeah.
Also.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. God, he's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot about the
He's
barbershop.
got a long
movies.
resume.
Yeah, he does.
He's got a resume.
It started off like real in
Yeah.
a really big group too.
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Okay.
So I did the same thing that I did with James Wan. I kind of just was like, oh, I'm gonna wing this and see what I like.
Right.
So Shining, and I have never heard of this guy before. I mean, completely honest with you guys, I have never heard of this guy before. John Alcott.
Okay.
Have you heard of him?
The last
Sounds
name
familiar.
sounds familiar. Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he produced Or was that? Hold on. Were you on producers? Or we're on DPs? We're on DPs.
We're on producers, but I
think
accidentally skipped DPs.
He DP'd actually because I remember I looked up photos of him. Yeah, he DP'd. I think he died.
He's a cinematographer. He did Barry Lyndon.
Yeah.
He shot a lot of
I did
Kubrick
look
stuff.
at
2001.
I looked at his stuff. I didn't. That was
Clockwork
Shining was
Orange.
pretty much all other than Clock. Yeah, that one.
Greystoke, Legend of Tarzan. That's a great movie.
See, I didn't watch
Oh
that,
my
but
God.
other than those two movies, though.
Right.
I
Beastmaster.
really-
He did the first Beastmaster movie, which is awesome.
But the shots in
Yeah.
The Shining were incredible. That's why I looked up The Shining just to see who did it.
Right.
That's why. So
Oh,
it wasn't
really
really
good.
him. You know, man, there was something about the cinematography in The Shining.
British
that was just
cinematographer,
beautiful.
dude. And he's working with somebody like Kubrick and stuff. It's going to be tight
Oh yeah, great
for
stuff.
sure. Producer though, quickly.
Like I said, Spielberg.
Spielberg.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Cool deal.
for the obvious
Cool
reasons.
deal. We busted an hour already, but it's okay. No, we're at 52 minutes and something, so this is good. But DP, I know I'm going to put a little more into this because I am one, but I have to say I brought it down to two. Darius Kanji, who shoots a lot of stuff for David Fincher. He just has a certain kind of look to it. Like Seven, I think, is a gorgeous looking movie. I mean, it's just beautiful. And he also shot for this. It's a French director. Oh my God, I'm going to film hell because I can't remember his name. But it was like City of Lost Children, which is an incredible movie. Amelie, all those ones like that. Alien 4, which is, love it or hate it, I like it.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Some good points, though.
And then I really like this other guy out of, I think he lives in Hong Kong, Christopher Doyle. And I started seeing his stuff in these sort of Chinese dramas that I really liked. And like In the Mood for Love, if you ever see that, is like gorgeous, like beautiful shots. Just
Is that the one that In the Mood for Love? Is that the one with maybe I'm sorry.
very, very famous. Yeah, let me.
Sorry.
IMDb in it.
Yeah. I'm on IMDb right now.
I'm sorry.
I am.
Of course, we have the slowest internet on the planet, so there is
Indeed.
Why can't I think of the actors' names? It's kind of a takeoff on like old '60s movie or like.
It kind of has a
50s,
feel. Well, it
60s
takes
movies.
place in the
Yeah,
late 50s
but
or
it's
the
like-
60s. Yeah,
But it's
yeah,
like
well,
a kind of a
in the
takeoff
60s.
on those old movies where it's like that old Rock Hudson and maybe I'm thinking of the wrong movie.
Come on,
Like the
internet.
Rock Hudson and Doris Day movies or whatever, where they were always kind of a.
It's
I might be
it's
wrong.
about a lot of his movies are about relationships.
Okay.
And
But this, I think I'm talking the wrong thing. But anyway,
Chungking Express was probably the first thing I saw. This director Wong Kar-wai did it, and In the Mood for Love is also Wong Kar-wai's stuff, and it's just really neat. Actually, he shot that right. I think he even shot in his apartment in Hong Kong for that movie, and they used it as a set and stuff. Just kind of,
interesting.
I like that, using what's around you. Let's make this movie. It's great. We live in a great place. Let's do it. It looks really cool, and just his the look for his stuff is really good. It's not my favorite movie, but he also shot Lady in the Water and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Oh, it was a phenomenal.
and, it looks great. It's not my favorite movie, but I like parts of it for
Yeah.
sure. But there's something just really nice about the colors and all that kind of stuff. I just like. All right.
well, I had to kind of look around DP because I'm not familiar with DPs near as much as names go.
Sure.
I've seen things movies, of course, that really look good and everything like that.
Right.
And, Ben Davis.
Okay.
You may not recognize the name. It just sounds like a plain name. There's not like a lot to it. But he's done Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh
He did
yeah.
Stardust, Kick-Ass, The Avengers,
Oh, yes. That's my movie.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Avengers: Age of Ultron, Doctor
Yeah.
Strange.
That was some good
All that stuff that looks really
And he's
good.
going to be doing Captain Marvel, which comes out next year.
So he's got it made.
Yeah, he's just set for life.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
He's done all the big stuff.
I think a lot of the stuff he's really good about like otherworldly places.
Oh yeah, I
that
love
can be
the
challenging,
look
you
of
can see.
Guardians of the Galaxy is great because there's a lot of deep shadows and colors and all kind. It's really nice.
Stardust, if y'all haven't seen that
I
one,
have
that's
seen
a
it.
really
It's
good
very
movie.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Well, that came out like 2011.
Stardust?
Earlier.
Earlier than that.
Oh, he did 3 Billboards,
2007?
which just hit. And actually, my buddy Jason Ledford, who works at another undisclosed location at another school, was actually in it. He's a Native American, but he was Mexican number 2 or number 3, and he was one of the guys on the billboard painting it in the opening of it and stuff like that. So wow, it's interesting what a small world it is.
Yeah, man.
But Stardust is like early 2000s.
Okay. Didn't
It had
Who was-
Robert De Niro in it.
and was it Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer's in it.
Do you want to know something? When I worked at Blockbuster, I would put up the movies, and I could tell you movies that I've never seen. I've never seen Stardust, but I remember every movie that I ever saw the case, and I know who's in it.
Right.
And I kind of get the idea of what year it came out.
Oh yeah, you probably had to
I've been
have
doing
the
this for
spiel when
years.
people come up to get it. And it's
Oh,
like,
dude,
yeah,
I think I've seen everything just because I've seen the case.
yeah.
Right.
I was always, when I was younger, I wished I could have gotten a job at a video store.
That was
because I was
phenomenal.
working construction and crap like that, and I'm like, that sucks.
Oh,
you know?
I worked in a
I didn't get paid nothing, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Both
I
you
worked-
guys worked at one.
I worked at a video store in the early 90s. Back
Where
when
did you work?
all
Like the
VHS.
movie X or something?
Huh?
Like movie X or
Yeah,
something?
it was mom and pop.
See, I would have
Satellite video.
appreciated that almost more than Blockbuster, but Blockbuster's, I bought the open sign. It's just some things you just can't. You know?
I just think of the South Park episode about Blockbuster. Have you seen it?
I have not.
I'll send it to you. Yeah,
You have to.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's funny.
But yeah,
It is.
But this was all VHS. This is back when all VHS. It was not even DVD. Nothing. Not even well, Laser just came out or came back or whatever.
Right.
Came out, came back, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And we didn't even have Laserdisc or nothing in there. It was just all VHS.
Oh man, see,
So,
that's beautiful.
But anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Nate,
Go ahead.
DP.
I don't really have a DP that I know of besides Ice Cube. But I'm more into, when I look at movies, I'm more into the directors, the actors,
Right.
and the writers. I know Twilight Zone. If you want to go way back, I'll go all the way back to Twilight Zone.
And how it
original
looks.
one, and with
The
Rod
movie?
Serling.
The movie
No,
or
no,
the
not
oh
movie,
the show?
show.
Because it probably had several different DPs
Yeah,
on
yeah.
each episode. Yeah.
The show Rod Serling. If you know the original one,
Mhm.
he did all of that, and he did an episode called The Lonely Man. I don't know if you've seen it.
And
before.
however it
I know.
looks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great. It was realistic, and it's also relevant to today. You
mhm.
know, because they're trying to turn robots into humans and all
Yeah,
that.
look
yeah.
up some of the movies in your favorites before next week, and look up and look at who the director of photography are for I bet you Spike Lee kind of has a couple guys that he's go to,
does, yeah.
you know. But think of stuff that you like visually,
Yeah.
you know, and that kind of stuff, and you know, yeah. But cool. All right, we're down to the last little bit here. So this is kind of a loaded question, but what got you interested in filmmaking? I still have to go back to probably Star Wars. My dad was a big influence of filmmaking for me in general. He had done some stuff with Super 8 cameras way back in the day when that was the camcorder that people had, you know. And so I saw some of his home movies that he made with my sister and mom and stuff like that, which were pretty cool. I just, as a little kid, seeing that on a little projector we had. And his pushing Kurosawa on me and all that kind of stuff. You know, I think that's what kind of got me into that. I've always been like a visual artist, building stuff with my hands. So it's sort of like building a story with your hands with all the different parts, you know. All right.
I basically, it was like you said, kind of watching the Star Wars movies growing up, just different kinds of movies growing up. But mainly when I got into it, but those made me feel like, okay, that's over there in Hollywood. Hollywood is a different world.
Right, it's
that's
an
over
alien
there.
dimension.
We can't do that here. You know, well, I can do that there.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't. You know,
But you can.
But at the time, I remember when this is nice before a lot of people had cameras and all that,
Right.
cell phones and all that stuff.
For sure.
You're thinking, okay, that's over there in the different dimension, like you said, different dimension or whatever type thing. It's, but when it came into the '90s, Kevin Smith movies is what inspired me to become I'm not sure if y'all know of Kevin Smith, but
Just watch Clerks.
he's a writer director.
Oh, with the beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah,
And
Canadian guy.
his movies inspire me because each movie I don't want to say touched me, but it made everything movie I connected with. I should say, because especially his earlier movies, because it's something I did myself. And when I'm saying, hey, I can do that myself, he just made a movie about doing that, and I'm like, oh, I can do that, kind of thing. And so, like, working in a convenience store or a video store. I was Clerks. So I said, I've done that. And so then, mall rats. Hanging out in the mall.
Oh,
well, I've done that.
Comic
I used to do, I used to hang out with my friend in the mall or whatever type thing. Okay, I could do that. But I mean, it's just like, that kind of thing where each thing connected with Dogma was just kind of like connected with, I have had my questions about faith or whatever type thing over periods of times.
Yeah.
And that's basically what a movie is. A lot of people think it's controversial, but it's a question of being faithful, having faith or whatever is what it comes right down to. And then Chasing Amy was a little bit off of the thing, but I did not sleep with a lesbian, but that's but it had a connection of comic books and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was hardcore into the comic book.
Right.
Yeah.
But and I like romantic comedies too, so it's a good romantic comedy.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of his, like I said, and so that's what inspired me, and that's what I was like looking toward going to a school to learn that, because that's what got me into filming.
Absolutely. All right.
Me, I would say documenting, and also the connection with watching different movies that are relatable to tell a story.
Right.
And basically, I guess when I think about it, sorry, because I had something at the top of my head.
Like something early you saw that maybe got you going on that direction.
Well, what really sparked me was when I did the YouTube video. When I did just shot the video.
Right.
Period.
So making one said.
Yeah. So when I did the documentary out in Charlotte and everything, well, really it wasn't a documentary. It really was just me just recording.
Right.
And then I made it
turned into one.
Got your adrenaline
So
going.
it just got me going. It really sparked me. But also as well as just watching movies over time and the stories that are so relatable,
right?
It just makes me want to make a movie because of just learning how to do storytelling and everything.
Awesome.
That's pretty much sums everything up for me.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
All right.
When I was a kid, the only friend I had was movies, and I'm talking small kid, and just to say this, just tells you how they were my best friends.
Right.
I was about not even 8, and my cousin Vinny was on VHS, and I played it every day for months straight. I did not watch anything else but my cousin Vinny, and I would keep letting it go, and I wouldn't watch anything else because I fell in love with it.
Right.
Just everything from it. And then after that, the older I got, I fell in love with movies even more because it wasn't just they weren't my friends anymore, but they made me feel happy because nothing else could.
So when you watch a movie like that in succession, you probably start to analyze all the little bits that you don't really recognize.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, these are shots put together.
Yeah. Well, as a child, you don't think of it that way.
No, yeah.
But I can tell you that it teaches you how to be a type of person. These people are kind of like depending on what you're watching, of course.
Right.
But it grows you up. It teaches you something.
It does.
You watch movies. It impacts your life.
It can be educational.
How
for
you are, who you are.
It's not just entertainment.
But movies to me, it depends on how you look at it. But for me, they are part of my happiness. And if I just have to watch them to be happy, that's just going to be a boring life. I need to be involved.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here.
It's a powerful art, a form, a craft, whatever you want to call it.
Extremely powerful.
Yeah.
It's the most powerful art I feel. Almost. And I think art of all, like photography, everything else is beautiful.
Right.
But to me, the art of film, it's incredible, and I love it.
It really is the dialogue that goes into it, the emotions and everything. Like, it's really interesting.
Oh yeah, I love it.
And then making even horror movies and stuff like that.
Mhm.
The stuff that they have to do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
It's hard work.
Oh yeah, even bad movies are hard to make,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know, somebody
Yeah.
like made that and struggled with it and
Was it-
fought for it.
Blood, sweat, and
But
tears.
I will admit that what you just said. I will admit that is sometimes you watch a movie and you say, "I know it was hard probably to make that movie."
It sucked.
I'm just like, no, it was hard.
All that
Here's an
effort.
80-page
All
script.
that
You've got
effort. I
3
feel
days
like,
to
you know,
shoot it.
You almost feel bad for anybody involved with the movie or whatever, because you feel like, oh God, that person had to stand there without a microphone holding that
But
thing
it's
during
okay.
this bad scene and everything, and you just feel like,
Oh yeah, the crew with the sex scenes and there's just some scenes I know that some crews have to see and just like some people have to watch. And
Right.
you're just like, I just wanted to get a paycheck.
And it becomes a job.
Oh yeah.
You know, on that kind of level.
You adapt.
You know?
I could
Right.
see it.
Right. All right. Well, that concludes P114 podcast for this week. This is our first one, and we hope you like it. Tune in next week from an undisclosed place in the world, and we will disclose great and useful information for all you future filmmakers out there. Goodbye.